Right now, the United States owes more money than any country in the history of human civilization. $34 trillion. That number is so large, it has almost stopped meaning anything. Say it out loud, 34 trillion. It sounds more like science fiction than an economic statistic. If you tried to pay it off $1 per second, 24 hours a day, every day, it would take more than 1 million years. And yet, life looks normal. The economy hasn't collapsed, the stock market keeps moving, people are still buying houses, taking vacations, and arguing about streaming subscriptions. So something strange is happening. Either the debt doesn't actually matter, or there's something deeper about this system that most people have never looked at carefully. Today, we're going to look carefully. Because the story of how America reached $34 trillion in debt is not the simple story you've probably heard. Let's start with the uncomfortable math. The U.S. government spends roughly $6.5 trillion every year, but it only collects about $4.5 trillion in taxes. That leaves a gap of around $2 trillion every single year. $2 trillion added to the national debt every single year. And the situation gets even more serious when you look at interest payments. The United States now spends over $1 trillion per year just paying interest on the money it already borrowed. That's more than the entire defense budget, more than many major government programs combined. And because interest rates have risen, those payments are getting larger. This is not some distant future problem. It's a financial machine that is already running. When people first hear these numbers, their instinct is to assume someone must have made a catastrophic mistake. Maybe corruption, maybe incompetence, maybe reckless political decisions. And yes, those factors played a role. But the truth is more uncomfortable. America didn't accidentally stumble into $34 trillion of debt. It chose it, over and over again. Republicans, Democrats, different presidents, different economic conditions, the number kept rising. And the reason it kept rising is because for a very long time, borrowing actually worked. To understand why, you have to go back to World War II. By the end of the war in 1945, the United States had accumulated enormous debt relative to the size of its economy. But something interesting happened next. The economy exploded with growth. Manufacturing expanded, technology advanced, millions of new homes were built, the population surged during the baby boom. As the economy grew rapidly, the relative burden of the debt shrank. This created an important belief inside Washington. Debt isn't dangerous if economic growth outpaces it. That lesson shaped policy decisions for decades. In 1981, Ronald Reagan cut taxes dramatically while increasing military spending. The national debt tripled during his presidency. In the early 2000s, George W. Bush cut taxes again and launched two major wars. The debt increased by trillions more. After the 2008 financial crisis, Obama implemented large stimulus programs to stabilize the economy. Later, Donald Trump passed another major tax cut while government spending continued rising. Then came 2020. During the pandemic, the United States borrowed over $6 trillion in emergency spending almost overnight. Stimulus checks, business loans, economic relief programs. The money went out quickly, but the debt stayed. Here's the part of the story that most people misunderstand. A large portion of the U.S. national debt is actually owed internally. Government programs like Social Security and federal pensions hold large amounts of Treasury bonds. Even the Federal Reserve itself owns a significant share. In other words, the government partially owes money to its own institutions.
Another large portion is held by global investors and foreign governments like Japan and China. Why are they willing to lend so much? Because the US dollar is still the world's reserve currency. When investors want a safe place to store wealth, they buy US Treasury bonds. This demand allows the United States to borrow money at relatively low interest rates. It's an enormous financial privilege, but it's also a fragile one. Now, here's the question I want you to think about. The United States has been borrowing money for decades on the assumption that growth will eventually solve the problem. Maybe it will, but what happens if the debt keeps growing faster than the economy? At what point does the system start to break? No one in Washington has given a clear answer, so I want to hear your perspective. Do you think the U.S. national debt is manageable, or do you think it will eventually become a serious crisis? Write your opinion in the comments. I'm genuinely curious how many people already understood how this system works before watching this video. And if this video helped clarify something, share it with someone who should probably understand it too.